Welcome to Money Matters. I'm Tom Spottiswoode of River Bay Investment Group, Wells Fargo Advisors Financial Network in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And today I'm very excited to have on the show Paul Samakow. He wrote a book, 8 Critical Things Your Auto Accident Attorney Won't Tell You. And we're going to talk about different ways where you can save some money and protect yourself in the case of auto accident. So, Paul, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
I read this book and I learned so much, and it was one of those things where I'm kicking myself. I said, I wish I saw this book earlier, because you're in that situation. You get in an auto accident, and thank goodness, like in these accidents, no one was hurt, but it's still just to figure out, how to deal with the insurance, how to get things fixed, how much your car is worth, what the damage is, what's the ongoing damage. I mean, it's compellingly difficult to deal with.
There's a lot of things that go on after you've been involved in an automobile accident that can seriously mess up your life if there's injury. And like you said, sometimes you said you've been involved in a collision that didn't involve injury. It can certainly mess up your life or make strides towards that end financially. So I wrote this book a couple of years ago. People just don't have information. This is information. This information, when you have it, it's powerful. You can protect yourself. You can prevent being a victim twice. You can't stop an accident. I mean, if you're sitting at a red light and somebody comes up and hits you from behind because they weren't paying attention.
Exactly.
You can't prevent that. There's nothing you can do. But you can structure things in advance with insurance coverages and a number of things that we can talk about this afternoon to minimize the effect that collision has. And then hopefully if there's a minimum of injury, you move on. I've been an attorney for 31 years, Tom.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your background and how you got started.
I mean,
Were you always in this part of the practice?
Well, I was not always in this part of the practice.
Yeah.
I got out of law school, and as the expression goes, I hung out a shingle. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to see what possibilities existed. I just was not the person that was going to go into a firm and toil and labor for 103,000 hours a week to maybe make partner in 7 or 8 years. That just wasn't my cup of tea. I hung out a shingle. I did all sorts of things. I did court-appointed work for individuals who couldn't afford to pay for lawyers when they were charged with crimes. Indigent clients. I was on a court-appointed list in Virginia. I got my license in Maryland about 5 years later. I did real estate settlements. I did divorce. I did bankruptcy. I did corporations.
General practitioner.
General practice. If someone came in and they were willing to pay, I could attach myself to their case, and if I couldn't figure it out, I'd get other lawyers that were more experienced to help me. I gravitated eventually doing personal injury work because I found it was very satisfying. I was really able to make impact for clients immediately. Take something like divorce. That's a horrible business to be in, being a divorce lawyer.
I know. My last show was with a divorce attorney.
Well, okay, I don't know who that is, and
right.
I take my hat off to whoever that was, but that was just a downer. I mean, that was depressing. I didn't go to law school to be a psychologist for a husband or a wife complaining about the other one and fighting over who gets the cat and
Sure.
how much the furniture is worth. I mean, I didn't like that. Personal injury work, certainly you're upset to hear that someone has an injury, and sometimes there's devastating injuries.
Yes.
And I've handled cases where families have come to me because loved ones lost their lives. It's very, very upsetting. But I can make an immediate impact. I can help them with compensation. We can arrange to get medical bills paid. We can help with issues with getting vehicles repaired, or sometimes the cars can't be repaired. We call that a total loss. So people don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And while I count as friends many people who are insurance agents and people who are brokers, the insurance claims industry, they're not nice people.
No.
And you know what? They might be nice people, but their job.
They have an agenda.
They have an agenda, and it is to stall, delay, even lie. And the people who are insurance claims adjusters, often these people are attorneys. Now, I've told people I'm definitely not the smartest guy in the room, but what I do as an attorney I do very well. And there isn't somebody who's going to get over on me legally. Now, you go into rocket science, you go into healthcare, you know, I don't know these things.
You're not the guy.
I'm not the guy.
Right.
But in a world, in my little world, I know what I need to know and I'm very good at it. Someone else can't come into that world and expect to do well, particularly when they're going up against an attorney who is an insurance claims adjuster. Many individuals get out of law school and they just want to have that 9-to-5 job, but these are smart folks in this arena, and they're going to play games and spin your head around so you have no clue that you've been taken advantage of.
You get in an accident. We'll talk about
Sure.
my last accident where I was going downtown to a meeting downtown, and I was parked at a stoplight and minding my own business, getting ready for the light to turn green. Boom, and I got hit from behind. I got rear-ended, and yeah, and then I got stalled. How is my case going to get managed? That's one of the things you talk about in your book.
There's two separate and distinct things here. And again, this is something that if you don't know, people tend to mesh it all together. We understand the concept that if you break it, you have to pay for it. We know that. We go into the Safeway up the street. If I'm a woman, my pocketbook knocks something off the shelf, I got to pay for it if it falls to the floor and breaks. So this guy came and rear-ended you. He broke your car, in a manner of speaking. They have to pay for that, they being his insurance company. And if you suffer injury and you have to go to the doctor, if you miss time from your job because you can't work physically, you're unable to go to work, they have to pay for those things. They also have to pay you an amount to compensate you for what I like to call disruption of your life. Many people recognize the expression pain and suffering. So all of these things, the law says you're entitled to be paid money. Now let's be frank. There's no amount of money if you're seriously hurt that's going to make up for what happened to you. I've never had a client raise their hand and say, oh, let me get in a car accident and I get $10,000 for it. That doesn't happen. Getting the $10,000 might be a reasonable amount for what happened in light of our judicial system and what we might expect to happen in a courtroom. But to substitute the 10 grand and go through what you might have gone through physically and the rehab and it's not worth it. But that's what we do. That's all that the system allows, is a compensation in dollars. So we take your car and we get it fixed. And there's a process of doing that. And in that process, there's still a lot of things that many people don't have an idea about. Getting a rental car.
Yes.
Okay? You're entitled to a rental car, but did you know you're not entitled to what they call the physical damage waiver? Because let's just suppose you have insurance on your car. Then you go to the rental car company and they tell you, well, you need to sign and take this physical damage waiver. A lot of times they call it the extra insurance. Because if something happens in the rental car, you're going to be responsible, sir. The other guy's insurance who damaged your car is not going to pay for that extra physical damage waiver, because your own automobile insurance company will provide, it's a substitute vehicle, that rental car. So if something happens to the rental car, you have your insurance. If you cause an accident, your insurance will pay for it, just as if it was your car.
You're insured anyway. You don't really
You're
need
insured anyway. So a lot of people sign up for that. I've got a woman coming into my office, in my Virginia office later on today, because notwithstanding we told her that, she went ahead and got the extra insurance, and it's $12, $13, $14 a day.
$15 a day, yeah.
Right, and she had the car for a week and a half, and that's over $100, and she doesn't understand why the other person's insurance isn't going to pay for that. So, you know, I have to be the bearer of the bad news. You know, ma'am, I'm sorry, we told you this at the beginning not to get that extra insurance. You did it. I didn't know you did it. I wasn't standing there at the counter with you. These are the kinds of things. There's all kinds of little things. People get into a situation where their car has got a lot of damage to it. Sometimes they're going to declare the car to be a total loss. So how much money do you get for the value of your car? Often.
Who negotiates that?
Well, we do.
Right.
We do. And
so in a situation like that, okay, so you would actually, it would make sense for you to get, you have a new car, new BMW.
Right.
Okay, and 6 months later it gets whacked.
Right.
And you think your car is worth 50 grand.
Okay.
And they're coming to you and say, no, it's only worth 40 grand.
Right.
And you want that 10 grand difference.
Correct.
So they get an attorney. You say, look, we got to negotiate this. I'm not going to negotiate it. I'm not the right guy.
The truth is that the insurance industry, to their credit for the most part, when they're dealing with that type of very small, finite issue, the value of a car, more often than not, they're pretty spot on. The moment you take that BMW off the showroom floor, it's depreciated. The problem is that now it has a reduced value, and you can understand that as a consumer. You say, okay, yeah, I know, if I tried to sell it a day before, I wouldn't have gotten what I really wanted to get. I mean, we know that experience from trying to sell the car through the newspaper, and nobody comes when we have this price, so we put a smaller price the next weekend and nobody comes. The third weekend we put an even smaller price, and now people are coming and they're haggling with us over that price. We understand the concept of the depreciation of a car. What most people don't get is that when they take out a loan on the car, the money owed on the loan often is more than the value of the car. So they're upside down.
Immediately.
Immediately. I tell people, get GAP insurance, GAP. It's a wonderful coverage, very small, and it fills in that gap between the value of the car and what you owe on your loan.
Hey, why don't we hold right there?
Okay.
We'll be right back after this public service announcement. Please stay tuned.
So, do you have any questions?
What is your soup of the day?
We have a mulligatawny soup.
Oh, do you have any specials?
We have a steak special today.
Oh, how's that cooked?
That's pan-seared and then...
Does it come with a side dish? Is it grilled? Can I have it steamed?
So, what do you recommend?
What kind of pie do you have?
You an actor.
Aren't you from Ohio?
Any questions?
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
Welcome back to Money Matters and our discussion with Paul Samakow. We're talking about 8 critical things your auto accident attorney won't tell you. It's a great book, and we're going over some nice tips and techniques that you should be aware of. So, obviously, I mean, this is no secret. When you do get in a car accident, you have insurance. Most people have insurance, so they are going to get some type of money, but no one's really happy with what they get or with the car getting fixed, especially time's out.
Right.
You know, you lose a lot of time. So what could people do to protect themselves pre-accident? How should people be positioning themselves? What's a smart way to handle it?
Here's
It
what
sounds like if you're prepared,
Yeah.
you're in a much better stance.
Well, I discussed earlier, you can't prevent the accident from happening. But what you can do is have good automobile insurance coverage. Now, the first thing that I want to just put right on the table, a lot of insurance agents tell their customers that they're getting full coverage. That term is very, very misleading. There is no such thing as full coverage. Here in Maryland, we are required as drivers of automobiles to have insurance that provides for what we call liability limits. The coverage protects us from having to pay money if we hit that other guy out on the road. My insurance will cover me if I cause an accident. That's liability. I'm liable. In Maryland, we're only required to have $30,000 of coverage.
Yes.
Now, that covers injury claims. There's another part of the policy which covers damage to the vehicle, but I'm concerned about people. I'm concerned about the injury.
Well, if I can ask you, I mean, this is something that I'm kind of surprised. Do the insurance agents actually undersell the coverage?
Bingo.
Like, why would they do that, though? I mean,
Here we go.
I mean, wouldn't it make more sense for them to sell you more coverage because they would get a bigger commission? I don't know how it works.
Okay, well, here's the little-known secret about the nastiness of the insurance industry. I'm going to tell you that, just as an example, a minimum limits required policy of $30,000, the premium might be $186 for 6 months. Now, if the insurance agent sells 10 of those, he gets a commission on each $186, not the whole thing. The whole thing, you know, most of it goes to the insurance company. I recommend to my clients, and keep your seat there, Tom, that you go out and get $1 million of liability insurance. Now you say, why? Well, if I injure you and you have a knee injury, let's just say you need knee surgery, which isn't uncommon. 1 out of 10, 15 cases, you hit the underside of the dashboard with your knee and you require surgery. Before you've even blinked an eye, your medical bills are more than $30,000.
Much more.
So where is the guy who's looking for payment going to go to get the rest of the money if your insurance is only paying the $30,000? He's going after you personally. So I say to people, you know, you can get a policy of insurance for $50, $100, $500,000, get $1 million. Here's the differential. On a $30,000 liability coverage, the premium might be $186. Let's just call it $200 just for discussion's sake. raise it all the way up to $1 million, and that $200 premium might go to $290, $280, $270. It's peanuts more. Now, to answer your question, why wouldn't the insurance company want to sell more because they collect more of a premium? The answer is because now they have mega exposure more. They'd much rather go get rid of or not get the extra premium and only have exposure like this instead of collecting pennies more and having unlimited exposure, which potentially $1 million coverage would allow. The other thing is that the agents themselves, every time a claim is made against a policy that they have sold to an insured, every time a claim is made, there's a little ka-ching out of their next commission check. So they don't want to tell you about the bigger premium because that's a bigger exposure and a bigger ka-ching, a bigger discount out of their next commission check.
There's no conflict of interest there.
Oh, there's an absolute conflict of interest. They should be horsewhipped for not telling you what I've just told you. They should be beaten. Why wouldn't you as a consumer want to have maximum protection? Most people are driving around in our community with minimum limits policies. Some of them have 50,000, some of them maybe have 100,000, which is better. But they have no clue that they're really putting themselves at risk financially, because if it's not enough money, the person injured is going to come after them personally. Now, there's another coverage. It's called personal injury protection, PIP.
Yeah, right. You talk about that in your book.
In Maryland, you can sign a form and waive it. And a lot of times the insurance agents will say to you, well, you have health insurance, right? You go, yes, I do. Oh, then you don't need this. That's malarkey. Of course you need it.
And you think they're doing you a favor.
And you think they're doing you a favor because you've now saved $19 for $2,500. If you buy the PIP coverage, you get $2,500 immediately. Well, don't stop at $2,500. Go get $50,000. Instead of paying $19 or $20 for the $2,500, you'll pay $30 or $31 or $32 for $50,000 worth of coverage. And this is extra money that you get in your pocket to help you pay medical bills. And when the other guy's insurance pays you again for those medical bills because they're required to, remember they broke it, they have to pay for it, you get paid twice. And that's all legal, that's the way it should be. You paid premiums to your insurance company. If something bad happens, they take care of you. Well, would you rather have them take care of you to the tune of $2,500 or to the tune of maybe $18,000 if those are your bills? If you only have a $2,500 PIP policy, you're only getting $2,500.
It's amazing.
It is amazing, and it's infuriating when you realize what the insurance industry is doing. And they don't ever tell you these things. They get you in, get you out, sell you a minimum policy. Typically, you're not even talking to them in person. It's over the phone or maybe even on the computer where nobody's explaining it to you when you're signing up again.
They have funny ads on the television show during the sports games.
Oh, the ads are hysterical. Oh, I love insurance company ads.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to mention any of them because that would be inappropriate. But you know, there's just, it's funny because I like that expression. You don't know what you don't know, and when you don't know, and then people take advantage of you, and afterwards you smile and you wish them well, and you put them on your Christmas card list.
Thank you, yeah.
And all the while these people are taking that knife and just digging it in, and you don't even realize it's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I can almost, I'm not going to say anger, but I can tell you got some, you're very passionate about this.
Oh, that's exactly the word.
Because you've been there again and again.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, I can't tell you how many times over the course of a week a potential client will come into me, and we always require that when they come in for their first meeting that they bring me their insurance policy.
Sure.
I can't tell you how many times during the course of an average week a potential client will come in, and I will not take the case for whatever reason. I'm not in a position, might be legally, might be factually, might be in a number of things. I just am not able to help them. But they don't leave my office until I've explained these things to them. And they walk away, even though I didn't take their case, they walk away, in my view, and they've told me, very appreciative, because now the next thing they're going to do is go call their insurance agent and get better insurance coverage.
More comprehensive.
Again, I mean, you know, here even, there's a provision in your insurance policy which is called uninsured motorist. Let's suppose that somebody hits you from behind and you have a pretty serious injury, a moderate injury, and for whatever reason they had no insurance coverage, zero. That's violation of the law, but they had no coverage. So what are you going to do? You're going to go after them personally? Maybe, but do they have any money? Probably not. So you go to your own insurance company, and your insurance gives you a protection in a case like this if they don't have insurance, the other guy. It's called uninsured motorist. Guess what your limits of uninsured motorist coverage are? They're the same as your liability limits.
So higher is better.
Higher is better. If you only have $30,000 of liability, that's the same that you have for uninsured motorist. And let's say you had a knee surgery. Now you're personally stuck with all those bills and nowhere to pay them from.
So you think you're saving money, but you're actually putting yourself in a potential huge hole down the road.
Absolutely. You know, when I tell people go get $1 million worth of coverage, I get, you know, physical change that occurs in their body of what are you kidding me? Are you? But once I explain it to them, you know, I've got a lot of people who are out there, day laborers, you know, maids in hotels. I mean, I'm talking about, if you will, the individuals who make up the lower portion of the financial strata of our community, who really, you know, you wouldn't think would have money to pay for the better and the best, but these people now have the better and the best if they've been through my office. Because it's not that much more expensive to protect yourself. That's what this is about. It's about protection.
All right, if you call right there. We'll be right back after this public service announcement. Please stay tuned.
That's low. That's low. That's low and below. Look, he's blushing. Seriously. Okay.
Welcome back to Money Matters and our discussion with Paul Samakow. We're talking about 8 critical things your auto accident attorney won't tell you, and different ways to protect yourself and in an auto accident before and after. So what, I guess another